This video is brought to you by the very same game I'm talking about, War Thunder. Stick around to hear more about the special bonus offer, classified documents, and the gaming community that causes them all to get leaked. Alright, I've talked about War Thunder once before and the community trend of leaking classified documents to affect in-game balancing, but the process has turned into a sort of reset the clock situation because it just keeps happening. For some reason, I'll speculate on that part later on, this game has cultivated an audience of people who not only have access to classified military files, but are also willing to risk jail time and leak them for the sole purpose of pushing developers to modify the game's balancing. In their mind, if they can prove the factuality of their argument, example, relative armor composition of the Challenger 2 tank should be different, Gaijin Entertainment, the developers behind the game itself, will succumb and modify the in-game vehicle. The very first instance I could find, possibly the inception of this now very well-documented trend, though it may have happened prior to this and been quickly removed. Tracking down evidence is hit or miss when you're tracking down evidence of military secrets that are covered under the Official Secrets Act of 1911 and 1989 in the UK. The first instance we can look at is in July of 2021, where a self-proclaimed Challenger 2 commander posted the AESP, Army Equipment Support publication, to the forums after photoshopping it to look like the manual had been declassified. Needless to say, it wasn't actually declassified, and the post was removed rather swiftly, but this would mark the start of a multi-year pattern which has now become a bit of a staple in gaming news. Every few months, oh, there it is again, another leak on the War Thunder forums. And it's kind of like those X number of days without a workplace accident boards in a warehouse, where it gets put back down to zero all the time. I laugh about it, but it's actually fascinating psychology when you really think it all through, because there is no other comparable situation out there in the world of gaming, at least not that I could find. This is not one of many in the sense that numerous different communities have a phenomenon where military secrets get leaked repeatedly on their forums. It may have happened sporadically here and there once or twice, but the scale and frequency here have become an actual meme. It turned out not to be true, but one user started a joke on the gaming subreddit about how their friend had lost a job at Raytheon because they screened their applicants based on whether or not they played War Thunder. They later admitted this was false, but the scale and frequency of these leaks, which I'll go over rapid fire in just a minute here, that kind of security precaution isn't even out of the question. It's not the kind of joke where you think, totally absurd, gotta be fake. It's the type of joke where you think, oh my god, that could be real, which is kind of insane. Alright, knowing how dedicated, shall we say, the War Thunder community is, up to and including the repeated act of leaking military secrets to impact in-game balancing, why wouldn't you want to play that game? It's the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, clearly in more ways than one. You can play more than 2,000 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships. Every vehicle is extremely detailed. Obviously, the military specs of those vehicles get leaked frequently in the forums, which makes it highly immersive, and you can play right now for free on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. The vehicle collection draws from a span of over 100 years, 1920s through present day, with realistic damage mechanics to components and crew, and they have an in-depth customization system for camo, historical markings, and decorators. Personally, I enjoy the social aspect of gaming. Strong community. Without a strong community, a PvP game just doesn't work. And War Thunder's got that part in spades. The players absolutely care deeply to the point of fanaticism, and since I was going to do this video anyway, having them be a sponsor kind of just made sense. If you click the link down below in the description for a limited time, new and returning players, if you haven't played for over 6 months that is, can claim a bonus pack including multiple premium vehicles, premium account, and some more stuff as well. Again, link down below in the description where new and returning players can claim a bonus pack with multiple premium vehicles. Big thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring the video. Let's go down the line chronologically here. July of 2021, a commander leaked classified documents pertaining to the Challenger 2, but what's next? Next is October of 2021, where an unknown user leaked classified documents pertaining to the Leclerc main battle tank to win an argument about the rotation speed of the turret. Suffice it to say, they won the argument, with some other consequences probably rapidly in tow. We don't know what happened to them after that, but they proved their point. Now, one thing here before I continue down the line, Gaijin makes it perfectly clear that while they require both primary and secondary sources in order to make balancing changes, they do not accept classified military documents or material as a valid source, and they will not make adjustments based on these leaks. That's an obvious policy in my mind because they need to disincentivize people from doing exactly this. And yes, I keep making jokes about the immersion and people leaking military secrets to impact balancing, but the truth is they don't successfully impact balancing with that behavior, because the vehicle specs have already been sourced through declassified means. Immersive, sure, realistic, yes, but I have to make it clear that while leaking things on the War Thunder forums might be a meme and make for good content on the channel, it's not actually a valid strategy to impact the game, despite what some in the community seem to think. Still, we're just getting started, and we only talked about 2 instances so far, roughly 3 months apart from each other. The next one occurred in July of 2022, and this one was pretty intense. A user posted top secret documents pertaining to the Chinese ZTZ-99 tank, and more specifically classified ammunition specifications. But this also referenced another leak from May of 2021, which I had no idea about at the time, where snippets from the DTC-10-125 anti-tank missile manual were posted on the forums, which makes 2 more instances, this time relating to the Chinese government. The list so far, as near as I can tell, has been classified material that I've mentioned, but now we shift over and talk about a different type of military secret, export-restricted documents. To be completely honest, I don't know how all of this works. Export law, especially regarding information or military information, is different for every single country with different laws and different stipulations. But the basic idea is that some information is export-restricted or NATO-restricted, which basically means that some people can access it domestically or certain government agencies at the very least, but it can't be shared broadly online. Obviously, posting such information to a video game forum violates the spirit of those laws, so yeah, not as bad as the straight-up classified content, but still bad. Sometime in late 2022, the Eurocopter Tiger had its armor specifications leaked. The content was obviously swiftly removed again. Very few instances of this remain online. That particular vehicle is still an active service vehicle, that's probably why. And the trend continued. January 2023, the next offender, none other than the F-16. This was, once again, information from the vehicle's manual, which is the most common type of leak that we see on the forums. It was export restricted, and it was leaked by someone attempting to win, you guessed it, an argument online. They also leaked information pertaining to the AIM-120, an air-to-air missile, but the list does not stop there. 2 days later, a user leaked 13 separate weapon system manuals for the F-15E pertaining to multiple core systems, and kicking the entire thing into overdrive. Later that same month, again, we're still talking about the same month, January 2023 here, information about the Russian stealth fighter Sukhoi Su, nicknamed Felon by NATO, also got leaked, radar cross-section as well as airframe to be specific, and basically right after that, the same material gets dropped for the MiG-29. This marked 4 different classified military document leaks in less than 1 month. Still, not done. After going quiet for about 7 months, from January to August of 2023, the flight manual for the Eurofighter Typhoon gets posted, bringing attention back to the forums like a flood and sparking off another flurry. This time, the data pertained to everything from flight systems to weaponry, and rather than impacting balancing, had apparently been posted by a user attempting to push Gaijin, the developers, into actually adding the vehicle to the game. Needless to say, it didn't work, and the files were deleted. 2 weeks later, in September, the Lockheed 117 Nighthawk also had its flight manual get posted, and while this yet again was only export restricted, it still underlines just how frequent this type of activity has become on those forums. The data included engine specifications, firing angles, sensor locations, and more. The final instance, the latest infraction in what has now become a fully established pattern of behavior, was the Boeing AH-64D Apache Longbow helicopter. This time it was the technical manual, and while the content itself is unclassified, it was still export restricted, once again meaning that it had to be quickly taken down because posting it on a video game forum violated multiple separate information laws. That would be the final leak that I'm personally aware of, but the frequency of these occurrences all but guarantees that more will happen soon. The confusingly hilarious thing is that posting classified material to the War Thunder forums is simultaneously illegal and pointless. It's happened something like 15 or more times over the span of just 2 years, but has never once resulted in the intended outcome. Maybe the people doing it to win an argument got what they wanted. They won the argument after all, I suppose, so in that sense it was successful. They won by posting the documents to prove their point. But at what cost? And for everyone else trying to add or change a specific vehicle with this information, it obviously didn't work as a result of official policy, so what's the point? In my opinion, the memification of this behavior has taken on a life of its own. The media cycle repeatedly discusses it. Here I am doing exactly the same thing. And players of that game clearly have access to classified information, at least some of them, which means, all combined, with a game that does have a system where open source intelligence can affect balancing, it creates a perfect storm of option, incentive, a lot of passionate gamers doing stupid things, and possible outcome. Obviously, no one should be leaking classified military secrets in a video game forum. I dug around to find some of this stuff while making the video, and I did actually find quite a bit of it, because I was going to show it all blurred in the background, right, for credibility. But I decided it's probably better not to. Not that I don't think it's interesting, but because YouTube seems to be a razor's edge these days, and I'm not trying to run afoul of community guidelines, or one of the many sovereign governments where the military secrets got leaked from. In the end, War Thunder has an unbelievably passionate community, like actually unbelievable. A long track record of fascinating player behavior and a bevy of military servicemen from around the world who obviously play the game, willing to fully risk life and liberty by leaking secrets in order to prove their point in an argument or impact game balancing, which won't even be impacted. A magical gaming combination if ever there was one. That's it. If you want to support, there's links down below, a link to War Thunder for those who want to check it out, and some other stuff as well, Patreon, locals, memberships, a VPN, etc., etc. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, oh, and use a VPN. If you're going to leak military secrets in War Thunder, if you're one of those people watching this video right now, use my VPN before you do it at the very least. Surfshark does have a warrant canary, but that's a little bit of a joke. Also, I'm not saying ever to do that, ever. I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.